Well, with most of the boat shows behind us and people eagerly awaiting the open water season, there is a time when you need to start focusing on protecting your baby, protecting your investment. And we are so fortunate this morning on Renegade Bass Radio to be joined by marine specialist Heather Bonadie from Rhodes Williams. Good morning, Heather. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me on once again.
Excellent. Well, off air, Steve and I were talking about it, how so many people have been talking, online on the message boards about this boat that they just bought or that boat that they just bought, and they're starting to ask questions about insurance. And so we thought it was important that we ask you to join us to help demystify the ins and outs of insurance. And with some of the stuff that I've shared with you over the years, Heather, you realize that some people sometimes, with the best intentions, are purchasing products that result in a false economy. They're thinking they're saving money, but they're not really saving money in the long run. Now, my first question for you, Heather, is a lot of people think that they're saving money when they just take a rider, or as maybe their insurance agent says, "Oh, you're getting a fishing boat? No problem. We'll just slap it on with the house." From your experience and from mine as well, that's a big no-no, right?
Definitely a no-no. And being a broker, I do home and car insurance as well. So it's sort of the easy route to take for a lot of brokers who don't know marine insurance. But you want to go with a separate policy, and there are quite a few reasons. You're going to get better coverage. Usually the basis of settlement is going to be a lot better. And one of the main reasons is you never want a claim on your boat to affect the claims-free discount on your house insurance.
Okay. Now, let's just back up here. Okay. The basis of settlement, perhaps in the interests of our collective ignorance, you can decipher what that means.
I know the wordings for insurance. That means there's basically three ways that your policy could pay out: agreed value, replacement cost, or actual cash value. Agreed value is the best coverage because it's agreed up front that if you insured your boat for $20,000 and you have a total loss, you're going to get $20,000. Replacement cost, sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
Replacement cost would be, I insured my boat for $20,000, but 3 years down the road, the insurance company says, yeah, we can replace it with a similar boat for $14,000, so that's all we're going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
Actual cash value is, I insured my boat for $20,000, but it's 10 years old. I didn't take really great care of it, and on the market right now, it's only worth $8,000. So you paid for $20,000 worth of coverage, but you end up with $8,000.
I see. And so
your marine
policy will, in fact, actually give you the agreed value?
9 times out of 10, if you have a boat that's less than 15 years old, you will get an agreed value policy. And if it's over than 15 years old and you get a survey saying that the boat is in great shape, you can also get the agreed value.
Now, how does that differ if, in fact, you just, quote-unquote, slap it onto the old house insurance, which an awful lot of people have been doing?
Usually, a house insurance policy will give, in a great scenario, replacement cost, and quite often only the actual cash value.
Interesting. Okay, now that's the question, obviously, and that's one of the things that you talked about, how you're going to get much, you're going to get much better settlement out of a true marine policy. The other thing you mentioned is that you talked about a claims-free discount. What exactly is a claims-free discount?
With your home insurance, with most insurance companies, if you haven't put in a claim in the last 3 years, and some escalate it to 5 years, you're going to get a fairly substantial discount. And it all depends on the company. We see them range from 10% to 20% to, I think there's a couple companies that actually give almost a 25% discount if you've been claims-free. And that can generate a discount on average of $300, $200 to $400, depending on the size of your home. But it's a pretty big discount. So consider putting in a claim on your boat. You pay the deductible into your boat, your home policy, which can be also a $1,000 deductible, and then you lose that claims-free discount for the next 3 years.
Amazing. So obviously, if you make a claim, if you hit something in your lower unit needs to be replaced, and it's $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever it may be. Not only you're paying a much bigger deductible, because most boat policies, I would assume, are a little bit less than $1,000 deductible.
Oh yeah, $1,000 deductible. You're looking at the big cruisers.
Yes.
Your average fishing boat, pontoon boat, is usually around a $500 deductible.
Yes.
And some of the higher value boats, it's 1%. So even a $75,000 bass boat is going to have a $750 deductible.
Now, Heather, at the beginning of the segment, we talked about how, there's the claims-free discount aspect of just necessarily slapping it on the homeowner's policy. We also talked about the value of settlement, that is certainly much better with respect to marine insurance. What are some of the other ancillary benefits or some of the other features built into a true marine policy as opposed to just getting the rider?
Probably the biggest benefit is personal effects. And this coverage varies depending on the insurance companies that you're going with. But all your fishing gear, the tackle, the life jackets, everything you keep on board the boat, you don't want to put a claim in under your homeowner, so you have coverage for personal effects. You have wreck removal. You have liability. You have accidental death and medical payments, loss of use, emergency towing. It's its own separate policy that gives broader spectrum of coverage that you would ever get under a homeowner's policy.
Yeah. So obviously, in the long run, people are going to be much better insured with a true marine policy, and in fact, actually, are going to be probably saving money in the long run, certainly. And one of the things I was actually amazed, and we talked about this, folks, if you're looking for insurance, you want to get a hold of Heather, of course, just go to renegadebassinsurance.com. And you're able to get Heather's contact information. But the feedback I'm getting from all of our members that in fact have made the switch is that their marine policy was less expensive than what they were getting at before. And I understand that you guys have developed a brand new product that in fact actually is really tailor made to your clients specifically.
Yes, we're really proud of the new product we're launching. It's All Marine Advantage, AMA for short, and it's underwritten by Lloyd's of London. And it's fresh off the press. We're just launching it now, and clients who are already with Rhodes Williams will probably be contacting them to see if they're a good fit for this new program.
Now, Heather, I know you've been building up for this, and we talk quite often in the off season, and it's something that you guys have been working on. And I know you were hoping to launch it a little bit early, but you wanted to make it perfect, and you were quite excited when you guys were done. What are some of the things that will make it different than some of the other quote unquote marine specialist insurance that were available before?
Well, being a broker, my job is to pick through all the wording. So I look at every company that's out there, and there are some very good policies out there and great companies, but there's always some aspects that, something in the wordings that I'm not happy with. So we had the opportunity to go through and pick all the different things. So this policy affords higher limits for personal effects, so automatically $10,000 coverage there, $5,000 for emergency towing. We have higher than average payouts for accidental death and medical payments. We cover some damage from zebra mussels that most companies exclude. There's no, the layup warranty is standard, but we've got the ability to, for the muskie guys that like to fish until December 15th, we can extend coverage. If you're going down south, we can extend navigational limits. So there's so many things we can do with this product.
Now, Heather, you talked about the wording, and obviously the wording you quickly described here on some of the features that you'd like to see. And I know you were able to pick and choose the exact features that you wanted to be able to bring to your clients, people that trust you to find the best product, which is obviously one of the reasons why you go to a broker. But in the wording, were there also certain things that made you uncomfortable with some of the other products when it comes time to making a claim as opposed to just a feature?
Well, there are certain exclusions. Not all the same companies. When you're looking at an all-risk policy, it's not about what is covered. It's about what is not covered. So there were just different ways that companies, and they would assure us that, don't worry, we're going to pay out. It's not what it's meant to be. But as long as the exclusion is there, it means that they don't have to pay out. And that never made me feel comfortable. So we were able to word things in such a way that it benefits the clients.
It protects the clients, of course.
Yes. Exactly.
Now, I know also, Heather, you had an interesting story about how, sometimes, you saw a really good product, but, obviously being the specialist in the industry, you went through it with a fine-tooth comb and you found a clause, for example, that you were uncomfortable with. And even though, as you say, you got the reassurance from the salesperson, from the insurance company, don't worry, Heather, we'll still make sure. You said, no, this is not going to work for my clients. I just can't go on a handshake. What happens if you're gone, so to speak?
Well, that's exactly it. So as a broker, if I have the choice between 3 different companies or 4 different companies, and one of them has an exclusion that the other ones don't, I'm doing a disservice to my client if I put their policy with the company that's not going to give them coverage. So I would basically have to approach these companies and say, I can't place business unless you change this. So for Rhodes Williams, they might tweak or change a wording for us, and now we've basically changed it to our benefit under this product. So we don't have to rely on the company making these little changes. We have exactly what we want.
Excellent. Now, Heather, obviously, it is boating. The boating season is around the corner, but lots of people have just purchased boats. I know you work very closely and you're highly respected by all the marinas, and so many of them, in fact, actually entrust all of their clients' business to you. For the people that already have insurance, is there any cost to calling you and getting you to, quote unquote, evaluate and assess what they have and perhaps, come back with a product that you think is going to better suit their needs?
Oh, of course not. It's a free phone call. It's a quick phone call. It won't take a ton of time, but there's it can only benefit you. So give me a call if you've got any questions. If you're dealing with someone who's just a broker or a company that just put it on your house insurance and you've never actually gone over coverages, or a lot of brokers, and before I did marine insurance, someone would call me up and say, I bought a boat, and I would panic. I would go, oh my God, not a boat. And now that I do marine insurance, I really realize how tricky the coverage is, and you can't just slap it on a house policy, and you really have to have a discussion about what kind of boat do I have. That's why I deal with 4 companies, because I am not going to put a bass boat with the same company I'm going to put a cruiser with. I know, depending on your experience, where you're fishing, there's different companies that do different things better than others, and that's what the benefit of having a broker does for you. And by all means, call me, ask me questions. You're not obligated to move your insurance over to me.
Excellent. There you have it, folks. We're speaking with Heather Bonadie, the marine specialist from Rhodes and Williams. If you're looking for information or want to get some questions answered, or perhaps you're looking to insure your new investment and you just happen to be the proud owner of a new bass boat or a fishing boat for that matter, make sure you get a hold of her. You can get to her through renegadebass.com. There is the Rhodes and Williams link, or if you can remember it, in your web browser, make sure you just type in renegadebassinsurance.com. Ask for Heather. Heather, thank you so very much again for spending the time and helping to demystify something that most of us probably should be more aware of, but I guess as long as you're there, we don't have to worry about it.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. There you have it, folks. Heather Bonadie from Rhodes and Williams Insurance. Steve and I are going to be speaking with Jim Lynn.